Hi everybody, this is Dr. Chhoda, and in this video I continue my analysis of Chris Wallace's interview with US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin. Very important interview, very revealing interview about the position of the administration. And Steven Mnuchin did point out things that were very, very important and worth noting. He did point out, for example, that essentially the entire $400 a week does indeed come from the federal government. 25% of that, the way it's rerouted, is rerouted through the CRF fund, which states had established, which is basically federal money. So Steven Mnuchin is indeed correct that the entire $400 federal benefit does indeed come from the federal government. States don't have to chip in because the CRF component, which the states had thanks to the CARES Act, that leftover money would be used to contribute the remaining $100. This is effectively rerouting of money, if you will, as long as to get the money, the $400 a week to people. So Chris Wallace, like I've mentioned before, one of the best interviewers in the business, specifically asked Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin that he said that the extra $200 a week, would that not have helped individuals? Because he was comparing the $400 a week with the $600 a week that they had earlier. And he said, you've cut the unemployment benefits from $600 a week to $400 a week, $300 from the federal government, $100 from states. And you said that, he said, is this, Chris Wallace asked, is this actually going to help people? And in his response, Secretary Mnuchin said, the 25% that's coming from money that we already gave to the states. So this is effectively 100% paid for by the federal government. And he compared that with what President Obama paid during the 2008 crisis. He said that President Obama simply paid a $25 a week top up. We're providing $400 a week. And he said that was a fair compromise. And he said that we offered to continue to pay $600 a week, and the Democrats turned that down. And then Chris Wallace actually pushed back on that and said, hey, you only said that would be for 1 week. And then we had Secretary Mnuchin respond to that. Let's watch this segment and this extremely interesting exchange. Excellent interviewing from Chris Wallace and fair, fact-based responses from Secretary Steven Mnuchin about where this money is coming from, because he is correct. 100% of the $400 a week technically is coming directly from the federal government. $300 is coming from the DRF fund, which is from FEMA. That was money set aside for hurricanes, and $100 is coming from the CRF fund, which is something that was established with states as a result of the CARES Act. So $100 from CRF, $300 from DRF, DRF 75%, $300, CRF 25%, $100 equals $400 a week. And that's what Secretary Mnuchin was pointing out. Let's watch this segment.
As we say, you have cut the federal unemployment benefit from $600 to $400, $300 from the feds, $100, this is a week, $100 from states, but you say a lot of that would come from federal money they've already received. Do you really think that the hundreds of millions of the millions of families that lost jobs because of the virus don't need that money, that they don't need the extra $200 a week?
Chris, let me be clear. First of all, on the 25%, that's coming from money we already gave the states. So this is effectively 100% paid for by the federal government. Let me also remind you that Obama, during the financial crisis, paid a $25 top up. So this has never been done in the history of time. We thought $400 was a fair compromise, but let me just also say, we offered to continue to pay $600 while we negotiate, and the Democrats turned that down. So the president,
sir, that was only for 1 week. That was only for 1 week.
Actually, Chris, we extended it to 2 weeks, but they made perfectly clear they're not going to agree on a piecemeal deal. They want to hold up the American public from getting the money they need until they get everything they want, which is just a bad outcome, as I said.
And in the final segment of this interview between Chris Wallace and US Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, Chris Wallace asked the Treasury Secretary if the reduction in the payroll tax would end up hurting, not the reduction, I should say, the deferment in the payroll tax. And then the president even talked about doing away with the payroll tax completely. He said, isn't that going to hurt Social Security and Medicare? How are Social Security and Medicare actually going to get funded? And so Chris Wallace basically asked, he said that Democrats are saying that the result of a payroll tax cut would mean cuts in Social Security and Medicare. And we hear the US Treasury Secretary's response. He said, That's just factually inaccurate. There would be no reduction to those benefits, and the president has made that very clear. And then Steven Mnuchin went back to the focus on the differences, the fact that the Democrats want certain things that the Republicans don't want to give, and the fact that there's gridlock over the state and local benefits as well as the unemployment benefit extensions. So let's watch the tape and see how Steven Mnuchin responded to this question from Chris Wallace.
Just to be clear here, though, the Democrats are saying the result of a payroll tax cut is it would mean a cut in benefits for Social Security and Medicare, to which you say,
that's just factually inaccurate. There'd be no reduction to those benefits, and the president's made that very clear. But the issue here is, let's pass legislation on things that we agree on. Let's not hold up money to education for kids getting back to school safely. Let's not hold up money to state and local governments where they need it. The Democrats have to come off of a ridiculous $1 trillion number to state and local governments to bail out some of the states that were poorly managed.
Well, let me just ask briefly on that. They're talking $900 billion, not quite $1 trillion, but $900 billion. You're talking $150 billion. Is there a place in between there for aid to states and cities?
Chris, they're actually asking for 915 plus the reversal of SALT, which gets you over to $1 trillion. But on us, we gave 150 in the last bill. We'll give another 150 billion more. We can deal with in January if there's ongoing issues. We can pass more legislation. This will be the 5th bill. We don't have to get everything done at once. What we should do is get things done for the American public now. Come back for another bill afterwards.
All right, I got about a minute left, and I got a big question, and I'm going to count on you to give me a quick answer. Let's turn to the economy and the latest jobs numbers.
So there you have it, everybody. You can see the position of the administration. You can see the position of the Democrats. You can see that both sides are still stuck in a state of gridlock. However, we do seem to be getting a little bit closer and closer to some sort of a resolution, because I do believe that talks will carry on this week. The Nancy Pelosi, House Speaker, has already said she wants to continue talks. The president has indicated that the Democrats have reached out to him to continue talks. The U.S. Treasury Secretary has indicated that as long as Democrats come up with new proposals, they are ready to talk. And there seems to be a willingness on both sides to get to the bottom of this. The president's executive orders, whether they were a political maneuver, whether they were a stroke of genius, whether whatever you want to call them, they are now out there. And there is something happening which will hopefully lead to more talks and more consensus, because I do believe both sides want to bring this to an end, so that this can help Americans. This can help all the individuals who are unemployed. Thank you so much for watching. If you did learn something new, please click the like button. Please also subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. Please enable notifications so you get instant updates from us going forward. If you do want to get alerts from us going forward, please get your cell phone out. Send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000. And you'll get added to our alerts list, and you can opt out at any time. You can also get added to our email list if you agree to a quick disclaimer, and then you can opt out of that at any time as well. We really appreciate you watching. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week, and we look forward to providing you with more important news that affects your financial future. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video at Ignition Time. Thanks. Bye.